Good afternoon. This is Michael Harding.
And this is Christina Harding.
And we're here with On the Arts, that show that is dedicated to blowing the lid off of all of those wonderful little artistic secrets that we have down here in southern Utah. Now, we do actually have a different format today than we usually do. We usually have a guest here in the studio.
Yes, it's very lonely right now.
But we actually have a guest on the phone. Chris, can you hear us?
I can, and I am here.
Yay!
Fantastic.
There she is.
We just wanted to make sure there were no technical surprises before we actually began the interview portion. Just a little bit of an introduction of our guest and what's going on. I'm going to segue into this section.
Here we go.
I'll tell you, when I was in college at William and Mary, I took a dance class. And I have to admit, I took the class because there were a lot of really cute girls in there. That was my artistic motivation. And I thought it was really funny. Myself and a good friend named Brian Anderson, we were both actors, and we went to take the class. And at the very end of the semester, we were pulled into the teacher's office. His name was Jim Lepore. And he sat us both down, and he said, as you know, we have a dance organization, here on campus, a dance troupe, if you will, and they called it the Orchesis Company. And both Brian and I, we weren't there to learn to be better dancers. As I mentioned before, we wanted a better social life with the cute girls that were in the class. Mm-hmm. And he said, we really need guys in Orchesis. Would you two be willing to be dancers in this company? And I will never forget. Yeah, the reaction you just had there, Chris, that was
She's
ours.
Laughing.
And I have to say, after that semester, both Brian and I, we swore we would never, ever get on stage as a dancer. Well, let's fast forward about 20-some years.
Mm-hmm.
Here I am in southern Utah, and I'm teaching theater here at Dixie State University, mm-hmm. and also doing quite a bit of work up in Cedar City with both the Utah Shakespeare Festival and SUU. Mm-hmm. And I've had the pleasure of making several very good friends up there in Cedar City over the last 20 years, and one of whom is a lovely woman named mm-hmm. Lisa Mills. Mm-hmm. She has been one of my absolute best friends in Cedar City for a very, very long time. And I knew that she was a dancer, a dance teacher and such, and I knew that she was a part of an organization and had actually been more than just a part of an organization, the Cedar City Junior Ballet.
Yes.
And I was surprised one year, this was 2 years ago, as a matter of fact, I was talking to her about how I was learning about the world of dance by being the chair of theater and dance here mm-hmm. at Dixie State. And she had this quizzical, pensive look on her face that I've come to associate with danger. And she said, we have a board position open on Cedar City Junior Ballet. Would you be interested? And I did not heed that quizzical, pensive look, and I simply said, yes, that would be fun. And I have to say, one of the most wonderful decisions I made, because I not only got to work with Lise, mm-hmm. I also got to break my promise of 20-some years ago that I would never get on stage in a dance capacity. Mm-hmm. And by the way, Chris might be laughing right now at my use of the term my dance capacity. But I also got to know this wonderful guest that we have here, not in the studio, but on the line today, yeah. Chris Mills, who is Lisa Mills' sister, or I should say Lisa is Chris's sister.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know what the relationship quite is there. But anyways, one of the founders of Cedar City Junior Ballet. Welcome to the show,
Welcome.
Chris.
Thank you very much.
Actually, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here. I've been wanting to have Cedar City Junior Ballet represented on this show for a while. Mm-hmm. We're now in season 3 of Cedar City Junior Ballet. And I do just want to remind our listeners that you can also be watchers. You can check us out. There is a video stream of this show on Facebook. If you go to Radio Space Saint Space George, and that's ST Space mm-hmm. George, you can see who's in the studio here. You can see myself and Christina.
Just us today. Yes.
Just us today. Yeah. But you can also check us out on a live stream on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Now, you can also check out the archived version of this show where you will be able to hear Chris Mills.
Mm-hmm. Her beautiful voice.
You won't be able to see her beautiful face, but you will be able to see her beautiful voice. You'll be able to see her beautiful voice. I can't believe I just said that.
Yeah, it's been a long day. You're all right.
On Facebook, archived. So we do hope you'll check that out. But Chris, could you tell us, what is Cedar City Junior Ballet?
Got her.
It was my pipe dream. I started this company back in, I'm thinking it was 2003 or 2004. I had been inspired by my very first ballet teacher that Lisa and I had been with for years and years. We put on these gorgeous ballet productions every year. And I'd get to Cedar City under false pretenses because Lisa told me it never snowed here. So I came here, yeah, and I just decided at some point I went right away over to the continuing ed at SUU and set up a couple of classes there. And then out of nowhere, I just said, okay, Lisa, I'm going to make a ballet company and we're going to have a show. And without anything in my back pocket at all, I went over to the university and I rented the Randall Theater for certain dates 6 months out.
Wow.
Wow.
And then, I know. And then I posted audition notices.
I love that you got the space first and were just clear you were going to fill it.
You know, it's the if you build it, they will come thing.
Yes,
right.
So
yes.
That's how this started.
Well,
and it's been going ever since.
Wow.
I'll tell you, something I'm absolutely fascinated by about Cedar City Junior Ballet is something we've talked about quite a bit on this show is community theater and amateur versus professional, those kind of questions.
Yeah.
And at a community theater, you know, anybody can go audition, and you've got people who want to get involved with theater. They might have a lot of experience. They might not. I've always considered ballet to be a much more specialized discipline than acting, a much more technical thing. And I was blown away to find out that everyone who auditions gets in.
That's right.
And that blew me away when I heard about that. And then I started checking out the DVDs of past performances. And I have to say, with community theater, quite often you'll get someone who maybe they haven't spoken very much. They've got mush mouth, if you will, or they're not very good at creating relationships. I wasn't totally sure what to expect from community ballet. And I have to say, the product that I saw, and this was several of the previous performances, were absolutely beautiful, and I would have had no idea that this was open to anybody, and anybody could be involved on this. It's pretty stunning.
That's what we want. I mean, we have parents, we have grandparents in our shows, and we limit our children, I think 4 years old is the age limit, but nobody has to have any experience. We will create parts for people if they have no experience whatsoever. I want everybody in the show.
Gotcha. It is amazing to me how you will deal with people's different levels of experience. I have to say, the first time I really met you, Chris, was when you were auditioning the young kids. And this was for not this past season, but for Sleeping Beauty, I believe. And what was wonderful is I had never quite met you before. I knew Lisa quite well, and Lisa and I knew each other quite well. But she said that her sister was coming to audition them, and in walks Chris Mills. And I kid you not, she had these Disney socks on, and she had cat ears on. Do you remember this?
Oh, God, I did. It was Halloween time, yes.
And I thought to myself, oh, my gosh, this is a serious ballerina. This is a serious ballet coach. And I wasn't quite sure how to take it. But I will tell you that I was amazed with how you dealt with the kids in the audition. And then I got to see you dealing with adults and dealing with dancers who had years of experience, and dancers, and I include myself in this category.
And you did a lovely job.
Thank you, thank you. Who did not have any years of experience. And you were just so wonderfully warm to everybody, and you really encouraged everybody to bring out their best.
That's what we like to do. That's the whole point. I mean, yes, I would love a professional ballet company, but that's not going to happen here. we do the best we can do, and I think we do a pretty decent job of it.
Yes.
And I can't emphasize enough that you say, no, we don't have a professional ballet company, but the product blew me away.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
You have full production values going on up there. You have a set. Quite often it's designed by the shows that I did with you, which was the original Secret Garden last year, as well as I was involved with Sleeping Beauty. My wife and I were involved, but we didn't end up being in the actual performance of it. We were not cut. Our listeners,
we were not
we
cut.
just want you to know. But I believe it was Benjamin Holman that designed some sets for you.
Yeah, he's been doing the sets for us for years, and just this is the first year that we're kind of on our own. So we've been designing sets, and it's been interesting having to do this by ourselves. But yeah, we're doing it.
And I'll say one of the things that I love about ballet as well are the costumes. And I wondered, how would a community ballet, and that makes me very happy to say that, a community ballet, how would you get all these costumes? Those are amazing. And I understand that you and Lisa do a lot of the work by hand.
We design the costumes. She does most of the construction. We have a great volunteer group of parents and grandparents that help out. But yeah, it's quite an endeavor. I think she told me that there's like 160 costumes in these shows that we're doing this time around.
What?
That's crazy.
Oh.
It is nuts. I remember I was going to go to lunch with Lisa a few weeks ago. We had arranged to just catch up and such. And I called and said, hey, do you want to go to lunch? I'm going to be up in Cedar City. And she just said, costumes, need I say more? That was it.
Yeah, well, I'm supposed to be doing the choreography, the set design. But I spent the day today sewing sequins on costumes and stuff. And I'm making tutu skirts, and it's like the crunch time. Next week is like Hell Week, so that's what we're all doing.
Right, and the performances, am I correct, are next Friday the 8th and Saturday the 9th?
Yeah, for the first time we're actually having a live orchestra. We've never done this before.
I did not know this.
We're doing it for Peter and the Wolf. We have the director here named Carrie Lee Zhuang has put together a 24-piece orchestra, and we're using that for Peter and the Wolf.
Oh,
so that's kind of exciting.
That is very exciting.
Yeah, and that's, of course, you're using the Prokofiev score for Peter and the Wolf?
Yeah, it's not easy.
Oh.
Not at all. I'm hoping that, I think there are a few melodies in there that a lot of people would recognize. I'm going to horrify the airwaves right now.
Oh, no.
But by saying, bum, 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 bum.
Not too bad.
I think a lot of people would recognize this, not just from Southwest Airlines commercials and things of that sort, but it really is Peter and the Wolf. Now, let me ask you, Chris, about the piece that you actually put together last year, which was an original ballet of The Secret Garden.
Yeah.
What? The way to put this, the only way I can think to ask this is, what possessed you to put together a brand new ballet, which turned out beautifully, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, so the story goes back to our first show, which was either 2004 or 2005. I don't know. I have no memory anymore. And after we did Coppelia the first year, and then after that, and we actually had an audience. We said, okay, we have a thing here. So then we decided we were going to do Sleeping Beauty, and we went to the DI to look for wedding gowns to use for court ladies' dance costumes. And while we were there was this costume there that I said to Lisa, this is the mother of the Secret Garden Ballet that I want to do someday. And this was way back in 2004 or 5. So when I finally decided, okay, well, I'm going to do this. I've been thinking about it all these years. And the gal that we got to do the mother, the ghost of the mother, we put her in this dress, and it fit her like a glove. It's been just hanging in that closet for 20 years waiting for her.
Wow.
So it was quite a thing. I've been wanting to do it for a very long time. It's just a story that's just really close to my heart.
That was a beautiful production, too, last year.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think it was fabulous.
And I think of what I remember, too, is afterwards, the energy in that lobby with the families hugging and everyone there to support each other. What a great energy. Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
And building on the whole community thing, as I mentioned before, I had the pleasure of being in that and working with you. The whole thing that's great about community theater is you get to see these people out on the street and such. Same thing with community ballet. I went to, I think it was, oh my gosh, what is the store there? Lynn's. I went there the next day, and there was the mother from Secret Garden. She was, putting some fruit out there, and I was like, hey, we did ballet together, and a lot of people looked askance.
It's amazing too in Cedar City the support they have because the house was full. I mean, every seat was filled. the night we went. Mm-hmm.
That's it.
It was fabulous.
So, Chris, what brought you to Cedar City?
Actually, what brought me to Cedar City, I was living in Indiana in a horse training job with my now ex-husband, and they needed a dance teacher here at SUU, and I had interviewed over the phone, and so they needed me to come in person to do an interview, so I was on a Greyhound bus from Indiana for 2 days, coming here. I didn't get the job, but once I got here, I started looking around out in the country, and everybody's got a horse in their backyard, and I thought, I can make a living here horse training. So that's how I ended up here, was for horse training.
For horses.
And I created a horse training business here, and then learned my way back into ballet.
Wow.
Well, I guess you don't corral horses, you corral children is what I saw.
Yes.
I do. Horses are easier.
Gotcha. And let me ask, what are what is your vision? What are your goals for Cedar City Junior Ballet? Is it going to is it just going to remain just a mainstay of Cedar City? Are you looking to take your original ballets elsewhere, or is this really just something that you want to offer to the community of Cedar City?
No, we just want to do this for Cedar City. I don't want to take anything on the road. It's we do one show a year, and I'd like to do more, but it's quite an undertaking to do that. Everyone is asking us to do a Nutcracker, but we're not going to do that because they bring in the Moscow Ballet to do the Nutcracker. There's no way we can compare at the same time of the year with the Moscow Ballet Company.
Well,
so that's never going to happen.
I do want to let you know,
it's never going to happen.
If the dancers at the Moscow Ballet, if they keep practicing, they will be up to our level very soon. I
think here's what's interesting about the Moscow Ballet. Bless their hearts. But they are the leftovers, in my opinion, of the companies in Russia. They're older. They're a little more, I'm going to use this word, decrepit.
Oh. Oh. That's how I felt this morning.
The productions are gorgeous, so I'm told. I've actually never been to one. But
I'm going to tell you.
But there's still too much competition for us. So
you warmed the cockles of my heart when you said, bless their hearts.
Bless their hearts.
Absolutely.
Oh, I thought it was the word decrepit.
Decrepit just amused me.
We related to that one.
we entered the decrepit zone a few years ago. Well, Chris, just again to reiterate, for the Cedar City Junior Ballet, there are performances coming up not this weekend, but Friday, March 8th, and Saturday, March 9th. Where can people get tickets?
They can get tickets online through the box office from the Heritage Theater, or they can get tickets at the box office at the night of the theater. There's also, we're doing a half-show matinee on Friday morning at 10 o'clock for school children that if they bring $1, they can get into the show. We're doing like a half of the Puppet Show Man for them. So there's a couple ways they can get in, but you can just stand in line at the box office at about 7:15 and get a ticket.
I think it's totally worth it. I had the pleasure of participating with you, as well as being able to see Sleeping Beauty the year before and watching all the videos of the ballets before that.
Yes.
And one of the things that absolutely amazed me was I was there for the school matinee, and those kids were mesmerized.
Yeah.
Absolutely mesmerized. And I think that's one of the beauties of ballet. I cannot thank you and Lisa enough for bringing Cedar City Junior Ballet to Cedar City in southern Utah. Yeah. So, Chris, thank you so much for your time and being on the show today.
Thank you for being on our show, yes.
We're going to try and entice Lisa when it's not costume season.
Yeah, we'll get her when she's a little calmer.
And we'd love to talk to you again. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And that was Chris Mills, one of the creators of Cedar City Junior Ballet, who I've been trying to get on this show for quite a while. Yeah. As you can tell, and is probably quite apparent, She and her sister Lisa are incredibly busy. When you think about it, they are the production team that puts together this yearly full-scale ballet.
Yeah, and I was not completely aware of who they were until we moved to Cedar City. And I was blown away last year with the Secret Garden. That was absolutely beautiful. And what I loved the most was watching the community up there in Cedar City pack the house. There's so many families were there, but just people that supported the ballet up there. And the quality that you're getting for the amount of the ticket, I mean, it was just a beautiful experience. So anyone in St. George area or Southern Utah area should take advantage of it next weekend. Go and watch this beautiful ballet. I guarantee it'll be worth your time, worth the drive to Cedar City. And the weather's beautiful right now, so this is perfect time of year to get up there.
Well, and I am going to say, I'm going to express my ignorance towards dance, or share what my ignorance was challenged
okay, sure,
by.
Please.
You know, they really do stand on their toes.
Well, that was a real good one there, Mr. Harden.
I was blown away.
Yeah.
I was sitting in rehearsal and I thought,
Yeah.
well, there's got to be a trick. You know, they're just kind of bending their toes or something
No,
like that.
they're stepping on them toes.
Yeah,
Yep.
they are on point.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, I was humbled, absolutely humbled in these rehearsals because, I'm there. I'm what was called a character in the ballet. I was not a dancer.
Yeah.
And Chris, if you are still listening, I'm still angry at you for bringing me in as a character saying, oh, you won't have to dance. And
You did.
they made me dance.
You did
up
a
there.
great job. You did a great job.
And the humility was thrown in my face when I was trying to learn these relatively simple dance moves, and I had 5-year-olds looking at me saying, "Why are you here?"
Yeah, they were a little temperamental with you, but they treated you great though. They were very supportive of you.
They coached me.
They coached you, yes. And you know what was very impressive too about this ballet was the mother. She was a young mom. I believe played one of their leads last year, and I remember her dancing beautifully.
Oh my gosh.
And without this opportunity, where would she have gone? They accepted her right in, and she auditioned. She made it into their group, and it was amazing to watch the talent that she was still pursuing her dreams and her talents through this ballet company. And that's all due to Chris and Lise. Yeah.
Well, and there's a whole nother world to ballet that I wasn't familiar with. Of course, as an actor and as a director, I knew what rehearsal was for the theater. But I had no idea what to expect in these ballet rehearsals. And I was amazed that everybody from the age of 4 all the way up to the age of, I don't know how old they all were, but they all knew their parts. When they came in, it was, okay, let's rehearse
prepared.
the Polonaise.
It was it was, and those long hours they spent in rehearsal together, but they loved what they did. And that was, it was apparent.
And I asked, where's the script for this? How did they learn the dance steps and such? And Chris and Lisa, when I asked that, they were both stymied. And they just said, well, we can give them the video of the dance. They go home and learn it, and then they come in.
They learn it. They take the time to learn it, yeah.
Now, I want to do a little bit of a segue here.
Oh, you're going to segue again. Oh, yeah, because we have 2 lovely ladies here in our studio now.
If you do check out our live feed on Facebook at
them.
Radio St. George or YouTube, you will discover that it's not just Christina and myself you have to look
Smile,
at.
girls. There they go. Yay!
And the segue to these happen to be 2 students of mine here at Dixie. And I would just like to say again, this is to emphasize to our guests in the studio, when dancers come to a ballet rehearsal, they have gone over the script, they know the script, and they are ready to dive on stage. That's me actually pretending to slap them on the wrist. The 2 actresses we have here, please introduce yourself.
I'm Avery.
And
I'm Mercedes.
welcome. As you can tell, they're very happy to be on the
Yeah,
radio.
they're a little nervous with that microphone. Come on, take charge, honey.
And please know, I was saying this kind of in jest because they are 2 actresses who have come very, very well prepared to the production that we are working on right now. Play by Beth Henley. Some people may know Beth Henley for her most famous play, which is Crimes of the Heart. But she's also written many, many other influential works, many, many other wonderful plays, both short form and long form. One of my favorite plays from the time I was 13 years old is a play called Am I Blue? And it's a shorter play. It's a 1-act. But, it's wonderful. I remember seeing it. It was a group of or 2 college kids, I should say, because it's a 2-person show. And when I saw it, I was blown away by how much it affected me. And I didn't know who Beth Henley was at the time. I didn't know Crimes of the Heart. But I remember that play. very, very well. And I'm happy to say that throughout the years, I've gotten to know her work better. And we're in the middle of rehearsing a play called The Wake of Jamie Foster right now. And it's one of her plays that actually didn't do well on Broadway after Crimes of the Heart. Crimes of the Heart, of course, won her the Pulitzer Prize, and she won many, many high-profile awards for this play. Then Wake of Jamie Foster came out, and the public didn't respond to it the way they had to Crimes of the Heart. And it was kind of a reaction that David Auburn, a playwright who wrote a play that many may have heard of called Proof, which is a very, very popular play over the last decade particularly. He hit Broadway, and Proof was brilliant. And I had the pleasure of actually meeting him and talking to him about his career. And he said, writing Proof was both a highlight of my career and also one of the most destructive things of my career. And when I asked him to explain that, he said, well, every play that I write from here on out, the critics have said or will say, well, it's no proof. And he was very, very frustrated with that. And Beth Henley has expressed the same kind of emotions about this play.
Well, I understand, too, that you have been emailing Beth Henley, and she has been communicating with you recently. So
she has been
quite an honor.
Wonderfully open about this. And it's something always to remember that just as we're getting to know the people who are artists here in the studio, she's a person just like everybody else. Sorry to burst any bubbles out there, but she's a person just like anyone else. And we've had delightful conversations about her plays and some of the choices that we're making. But let's shift the focus here just a bit.
There they are.
To Avery and Mercedes, who have calmed down just a bit being here in the studio. What's interesting about this pair is we have a graduating senior with us, and she is in the play playing the role of Catty. And we also have Mercedes, who is a first-year freshman here. They're both starring together in this piece. First of all, let's start with Avery. Okay. Tell us a little bit about your experience as an actress. You've had a growing resume here at Dixie.
Yes.
What?
She's a woman of many words.
Yeah, she's kind of off. Yeah.
It's true. Oh, turn it?
Right into the microphone.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
This is intimidating.
Yes.
Okay.
So what are some of the projects that you've worked on here?
Okay, so the first play that I was in at Dixie was Perfection.
Perfection.
Yeah.
I don't think I know that title.
It was a devised piece.
And what does that mean, a devised piece?
It means that everybody that's a part of the show kind of comes together and forms their own show. Am I explaining this right?
You're doing just fine.
She's a little nervous because her teacher's staring right at her.
I don't want to disappoint.
I'll look down at the board.
Nervous. Yeah, don't look at me.
Just look at me, honey, and everything will be fine.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. That was fun. It was actually kind of scary being thrown into that as a freshman because I was...
That was your first year here?
Yeah, and my first show.
Oh,
actually,
wow.
I had only done like one show in high school before doing that show. And I was like, is this what theater is?
And what was the show that you did in high school?
It was Much Ado About Nothing.
That's quite a show to start with.
Well, I was the sexton, so I wasn't like huge, but I was like, this is fun, I'll do this. And then I was like, is this what it really is?
And the sexton, he's in one scene,
Yeah.
isn't he? The one with Dogberry?
Yeah, but it was fun. It was
Good.
with Michael Eaton.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Who just directed the production of Rumors.
Yeah.
That just closed here. And so you did that in high school. You came to Dixie State and you thought, I know what theater is. I'm going to get involved again.
I am brilliant.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell us what that was, the show Perfection. It was devised, but what was it?
So we kind of wanted to talk about, I guess, people's expectations of others. And so we all came with a vignette that we all had written ourselves and then would cast it according to other people in the play.
Gotcha. So basically an evening of scenes about perfection.
Yeah.
And it was a perfect performance, I must say.
Oh, hey, thanks.
Now, what else have you done here after Perfection?
After Perfection, I'm so glad I made a list. Anyway, I did God of Carnage, and I was a swing for God of Carnage.
What does that mean, a swing?
It means that I have to be ready for any of the female parts that are in the show, and I have to have them all memorized and ready in case any of the people can't perform, I guess.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So an understudy, but ready to go.
Yeah.
And she did perform.
I did.
Absolutely, yeah.
She took my part.
How many?
I
Yes,
did,
because
yeah.
Christina was in that.
That's when we first met, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where something that a lot of people start to get confused about regarding swings and understudies. And this is something I always have to use to reassure my students who are cast as understudies and such, that a lot of people think that an understudy is second string. That an understudy
No.
is, they're not good enough to be the role, so they're put in the background.
No.
And they also believe that if the actor who's in the role, say, has to drop the show, that means the understudy automatically goes on for that role. And something that
Only
I have to
in
explain,
college.
only in college, the understudy, it's a very particular set of skills to be an understudy, to be ready to go. So when you're cast, it doesn't, as an understudy, it doesn't mean that you're just waiting in the wings. It means that you're ready to take the place if you need on the spot. We had a situation where it was Cat on a Hot Tin Roof a few years ago, where we had a young actor cast in one of the roles, and we also had an understudy cast for that person. And the person who was cast for the actual role couldn't do it. They had to drop out mid-process. And everybody just expected the understudy to go in and the understudy as well. But instead, I cast another actor to take on the role. And it was a riot, I have to say, and not riot in a good way. There was a lot of rioting amongst the students saying, how could that be? And that was my first opportunity to teach that, no, the understudy is just the understudy, not the person who's going to take over the role.
And you can make a career out of being an understudy and get paid very well.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, you understudied at the Shakespeare Festival.
Yes, and loved every second of it. Loved it. And it paid
went
well.
on.
And I actually got to go on, which is a miracle.
Absolutely.
But it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
And I'll say, as a professional actor up in Seattle, I would say, a good fifth of my work was being cast as an understudy. And it's great. You get paid to sit and wait for the call.
Yeah, which is nerve-wracking, but yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. But, okay, so Perfection, and you did God of Carnage, where you were the swing.
Yeah.
What else have you done?
And then I did a show called The Country Wife.
The Country Wife. A very, very clean romp.
Exactly.
Actually, one of the filthier shows, filthiest shows I've ever read.
Yeah.
I was surprised I was still employed after we put that one on. And what else have you done?
And then I did 5 women wearing the same dress.
Yeah.
Directed by
Moa. Yes, I got to direct her in that. That was a wonderful
It was so
summer.
fun.
That was back when we had Comedy Storm at DSU.
Yeah.
And I loved Comedy Storm.
so
That was
fun.
such a great experience. And that's where I thought we'd see so much growth happen to people over the summer. We had a lot of fun. We get to spend all hours together through the summer, and it was a great experience. I think, too, because we all enjoyed each other's company so much in that show.
Yeah, it was a good cast.
And we're still close as a cast, I think.
It's super fun.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And of course, after Country Wife,
Then I did The Wizard of Oz.
Yes, yeah.
and you were Glinda.
Glinda.
I was Glinda.
She was the bubble witch.
I was.
Yes.
That
The
was
Good
crazy.
Witch.
The good witch, the bubble witch. Yes.
And from there, you went on to
The Tempest.
The Tempest. And what role
wow.
did you play in The Tempest?
I was Trinculo.
Trinculo. That's right. You and Kyle Allen were some clowns up there. And
Yeah.
then, of course, you came back this year, which we were
Yeah.
very, very happy
Yeah.
about.
I'm back.
Yeah.
And then you did,
And then I did Alice in Wonderland.
and you played a small role
Yeah, it was
in
small.
that. Yeah, you played Alice,
Yeah,
as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
And now you're working on The Wake of Jamie Foster.
Wow.
Yep.
And I do want to point out, you've had, for this being your only theater experience, really, I mean, you did the one show in high school,
Yeah.
Playing the Sextant. That's
Yeah,
a
it
great
was
role on the resume.
prestigious.
You've had quite a breadth of opportunity here.
Yeah.
Do you have a style that you prefer, a style that's your favorite?
I like the style that we're doing right now for Wake of Jamie Foster. I think
That
that's
is the
my favorite.
correct answer.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good student.
Absolutely. As the director, I do have to say it's been a blast working with these students on what's called American realism. And they've really taken to it quite well.
yeah.
In fact, it's kind of sparked, I've been out of the directing pool for about 3 years, and it sparked, as an artist, a lot of sparks that I hadn't forgotten about, but haven't really been used in a while. So now we're going to actually turn the mic just a little bit
Yeah,
to
get right up to the microphone there, Mercedes.
to
There you go.
Mercedes, who,
Yeah.
and it was really fun to have her come into auditions for The
freshman.
Wake of Jamie Foster, a
Yeah.
freshman who I'd never seen before.
No.
And something that I do have to tell the students as well is that we do not pre-cast necessarily, but when we do pick a show, yeah, we know that we've got students who we could put in there. We do have ideas. We would be foolish not to do that. And in my mind, it comes down to the students that we know could do it, they become the bar to beat.
Mm-hmm.
And how thrilling is it when a student comes in that I have never seen before, never met, comes in and sets a new bar for a certain role. And that was Mercedes. So, Mercedes, tell us, what kind of experience in theater do you have?
Just the good old little comedy shows in high school.
The good old comedy shows.
We never did anything other than comedy. We did High School Musical my senior year, but other
Woo!
than that, comedy.
And I'm going to admonish you to speak up into the
Okay,
microphone.
sorry,
Oh,
my
no,
bad.
that's
That's
getting an
okay.
acting
I'll get
lesson here.
closer.
There we go.
It's really hard not being the teacher.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I'm kind of in between here watching each other.
I guess it's amusing. So, what kind? You did High School Musical in high school, but what were some of the other shows?
We did this thing called Shakespeare on the Green, which was like a mix of little Shakespeare plays like King Lear and some stuff like that.
That light romp, King Lear.
A little happy play. Yes.
What else? How to Succeed in High School Without Really Trying. We did
Gotcha.
that.
Oh, that's a good twist.
Was that
Yeah.
a parody on the musical?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what else did we do? I don't remember. I apologize.
And
Most
where,
people
and
don't
where
remember
did you go
the
to high
college
school?
years.
I went to Virgin Valley down in Mesquite.
Oh, Mesquite.
Yeah,
All right.
so
Yeah.
I'm close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. And so you came up here to Dixie, and what got you into theater here?
Well, I already knew that I wanted to do theater, like coming into college. And then I was like, gotta audition for a show, gotta get those credits.
Oh, yeah.
So, yep.
You come in as one of the freshmen who's like, well, they will recognize my talent and give me a call.
No.
I have to say, did you feel that it was a hard audition?
Yeah.
And explain further why.
Well, besides the fact that I didn't know anyone working on the show and I didn't know anyone also auditioning, I felt like there was a lot of pressure to kind of prove myself. And not make a fool of myself also. So,
Yeah.
Got it. And this, of course, is the second semester that you're here at Dixie. Were you involved in the two shows that were performed the first semester at all?
no, I was too nervous.
She was feeling her way around.
I was too intimidated.
Yeah, we get that.
Yeah.
Well, I do have to say, this isn't just me as the radio host, but you two are doing a fantastic job as
Thanks.
the entirety of the cast. I will say there are 7 very fine student actors in the show. Let me ask the two of you, what has been one of the greatest challenges of this particular project for you? And don't say the director.
Right.
Oh.
Darn it. You want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so we've been doing like private lessons with like Christina,
Yeah.
like voice lessons to help with that. And I always, for like all of my characters, I always put the voice like super high up, like head voice, and I need to keep it lower. So that's been hard, but also fun and good to like realize that I do that, I guess. Well, I don't know.
No,
Yeah.
You have an answer?
Yeah.
No, I agree on the whole voice thing. For me, a lot of it is like opening myself up to passing my boundaries, I guess. For this character, it's pushed me a lot. And like I know I have the ability to play her, but it's been hard to open that up a little bit, but it's been worth it. And yeah.
I'll say, of course, this is the American realism portion of our seasons for a while. And Avery, you've talked about the breadth of experience that you've had, the different kinds of shows. Mercedes, what are you looking forward to? What kind of shows kind of strike your fancy?
I don't know. Honestly, I like super dramatic things. I've always wanted to play a character that just like cries and yells all the time. So I got pretty lucky.
Wish was answered. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say you do quite a bit of that. in
Just
the
a
show.
little bit.
But you mentioned that you did High School Musical.
Yeah.
Do you sing and dance as well?
Not well, but if necessary, I can.
So you're a mover.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so you're interested in theater and you come here. What are both of your aspirations?
Yes. What's after school?
Yeah, and that's
What's
a little
after?
closer to Avery.
Yeah, Avery's about done.
Yeah.
What do you
What's
want to
next? What's next for you?
do? There was a blank
Okay.
stare.
Oh, well, yeah, I know. I was like, oh
Shock
no.
of the
I knew you were going to ask
Senior year, yes.
Okay, so
Take the mic.
me
Take
and
the mic.
Kyle Allen have been meeting with you.
Notice how I give leading
Yeah.
questions.
I know. So we've talked about a few options. We might go to Seattle, or we might go to DC, because you named those, like the Folger Theater Company. I'm going to look into that.
Fantastic.
So either one of those. But for the time being, because I'm going to be here for a while, like making money, so I'll probably like look up north or in Vegas for like agencies or opportunities, stuff like that.
And there certainly are opportunities.
Yes.
We've had people in the studio before of all ages. We had young Stover in here, I should say.
Yes.
And we've also had Dan Fowkes and others who have been working quite prolifically with the agents in both Las Vegas and up in Salt Lake.
Cool.
And I have to say, I'm just going to share this on the air because she might be listening. I don't know. She lives in D.C., so probably not. But Avery reminds me a lot of an actress named Melissa Graves.
Yeah.
And someone who both Christina and I know. And Melissa has been doing quite well at the Folger Theater, which is actually what sparked my thoughts about Avery looking into that as well.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's real important, too, that you're helping the students find out that there's more beyond this. I mean, there is a world of theater if that's what they want to pursue. How wonderful to have professors who actually are in the field of professional acting, along with their teaching at DSU, that they're able to give you that opportunity to meet these people all around from the nation and go and take advantage. I know that we've had several students go on to do some great things here from DSU, and we've had wonderful professors over the past years. I know that I've been really helped when I returned back to Dixie, and Varla Davenport helped me, and then
He's a tremendous teacher.
and you and Glenn Webb and Ken. I had so many wonderful people that have helped me, Ken Peterson and Nancy Allred. I mean, just a lot of professors that really care about their students and want to see them succeed beyond DSUs. So that's amazing. Yeah.
That's always a tough lesson, I think, for the students, or some of the students to learn. Of course, we're happy to write letters of recommendation. We're happy to contact our friends in the business for people that treat us well.
Yes.
And
attitude is everything.
Everything in this business. And I've actually had many students who here were, I guess there's no other way to put it, pills when it came down to it.
Yeah.
And they leave, and for the most part, whenever they contact me again after a few years, they say, we're really sorry. We get it now.
We've received many, many emails that way. Saying, you were right.
Sorry.
I'm really sorry.
You knew what you
but
were
we
saying,
were the
and we're
same way
sorry.
when we were young, too, weren't we? We were.
Absolutely. Oh, I was always very, very pleasant.
Whatever.
Always.
Liar, yes.
I think it's pretty standard for young actors to be, shall we say, arrogant.
I think it's exciting, too, that Mercedes now has become part of the theater here. And she has many years left to keep growing here, and I'm excited for her. Yeah.
Thanks.
One of the reasons I wanted the two of you on the show is that, yes, you're, one is a senior, one is a freshman, but there's an incredible bond that can happen in the theater. And I'm always nervous as a teacher and as a director sometimes, but to put people who don't necessarily know each other together, to make such a wide span as far as experience in college, a senior with a freshman, putting a freshman in a lead, for Pete's sake. There's always a risk with that. And I have to say, with Wake of Jamie Foster, and yes, we have begun the plugs for Wake of Jamie Foster.
Yes. When does this open?
This opens actually March 21st. So a little under a month, and it'll be right after spring break. But I think this is going to be well worth it. This is one of the more special projects I've worked on here at Dixie. And how wonderful to see, and this is something that I've been able to see, is an actual support and friendship happening amongst the cast. And it's not that that's rare. It's just it's so wonderful to see when it's such a complete thing.
Yeah.
So we haven't really announced a season for next year.
Not yet.
Here at Dixie. What are you guys going to be doing with your summers? They haven't thought that far ahead.
We're probably going to rest and find a job.
Yeah. Make money.
Make money.
Yeah. You have plans? I don't know what I'm doing.
I was going to try to do some stuff in Vegas just because I go back to Mesquite for the summer, so it's closer. So I was just going to try and find like shows up there, or maybe do the community theater back in Mesquite just to see what I could do, or even St. George because it's not a far drive.
Yeah,
so.
there's a lot of theater now here, so you can take advantage of a lot of shows. Yeah,
Las Vegas, boy, you get involved with the right production companies, with the agencies. The money's out of this world.
Yeah.
I was making $40 an hour one week, and it was 8-hour days for 5 days straight. I think that funded my entire month there, rent and all.
That's crazy.
But what about you, Avery?
Probably same. I'll like work, make money, do some community stuff here. Probably look for stuff up north, maybe.
Yeah.
Vegas.
Good.
Meet up in Vegas.
Well, we sure do hope that you'll take advantage of the people that are here
Yeah.
who do have contacts up there. I'm waving my hands
Hi.
right now to help you out. But we also hope that our listeners, and we are in the double digits. We're hoping to get in the triple digits of listeners.
We have no idea. We just say that every week. We have no idea.
Is there anybody
Someone's
out there?
in their car right now
No.
eating a ding dong listening to us.
That's
That's what we
Absolutely.
hope. So,
Sorry,
yes.
I'm so nervous.
But I will say, we hope that not only will the students take advantage, but you as community members, we hope you take advantage of the opportunities that you have to be a part of these artistic opportunities, not only in community theater where you can audition, and we've got lots of theater going on in this town.
Yes, and also this weekend, I wanted to make a special note. I wanted to get this out there that Maestro Lucas Darger, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, with the Southwest Symphony music director and conductor, leads the Southwest Symphony Orchestra. He'll be in a stunning event to showcase selected Southern Utah's young music artists at the Cox Performing Arts this Saturday, March 2nd. It will begin at 7:30, and you can go to dsutix.com for tickets or by calling 435-652-7800. And this is the Salute to Youth. And I looked over who they've got playing. These young, wonderful pianists and violinists and cellists. These are kids that are going to be playing with the symphony. And so that's this weekend. So take advantage of that. And also, our good friend Chewy Lockhart has his improv group going on a clear, different spectrum.
Chewy!
Come see the improv on March 16th. That'll be coming up at the Comfort Suites. And remember, they have a 7 o'clock show that's PG and a 9 p.m. show, which is R.
Well, let's just say not PG.
Not
Okay.
PG, yeah. And they are funny. We went that just before Christmas, and that was a great time.
We had a great time.
And Chewy's wonderful, and we're going to have him back on the show hopefully soon, and get to talk more improv with him. So those are a few of the events that are coming up. But
And we hope if you know of any events, please do let us know. We keep our ear to the ground.
And we want to thank our guests and the audience today, too. We're so glad to have you guys with us. We know you're busy with your schedules and you're busy students, and I'm sure, the top, A grade students. Yeah, I think DSU should be proud that you've got some students like you guys here. Yep, you set the bar high.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for being guests. And to all of our listeners out there, please join us again every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m.
It's a lot of fun.
We'll meet a lot of folks in the arts. We'll give you opportunities.
Yeah.
And until then, we hope you'll keep your focus on the arts.
Wait, bye.